Okay, so the next person I want to bring up is we're going to have someone from 2A, the 2A Patriot Group, come talk. Rob, did you want to come up? All right. Rob's a lot taller than I am, so I got to fix the mic.
How is everybody doing? We have any gun lovers out here? Yeah. I'm a gun lover too. I get it. I get it. Do you know that there's about 60 laws in the U.S., I'm sorry, not laws, bills in the U.S. Congress right now that are up for debate? I expect Mike, where's Mike? Where's Mike at? I expect him to do something about it. Yeah, when you get in there, Mike, I expect you to do something. 60 bills that are trying to get passed right now against gun control. And then just in our state, we have 20 laws against gun control. And keep in mind, there's 1,000. There's 1,000 since the beginning of the year. Why in the hell do we need 1,000 new laws in a few months? Can anybody tell me? Control. Okay? So I stand here with my sisters, and there's probably some brothers here somewhere of these groups. I stand here in solidarity with them because we're all under attack. Now, I'm just telling you about the 80 laws that I have to contend with, that I'm working on. But when our brothers and sisters of Unmask and Restore Freedom and Guardians of Freedom, when they need help, 2A is going to be there for them. We're all in this together, folks. There's just not any more time for anybody to sit down anymore. So if I had one task for you, I got to stop for just a second. Sisters, I love you guys to death. I'll tell you what, I see you everywhere. You're awesome. If I had one task for everybody, it's to get involved and bring one friend with you. If you're a husband and your wife is not involved, get her involved. If you're a wife and your husband's not involved, get them involved. If you just pick some poor person and get them involved, because everybody needs to be involved. We're either being controlled or part of the solution to not be controlled. It's your choice, folks. You guys are all here to not be controlled. So let's work together. All the groups, let's all work together. We got a hit, right? We got a hit in 2020. Not exactly sure what happened during the election. Dominion stole it. But we had a problem, right? And we got to be part of that solution. Do you realize the only law or bill that currently has any possibility of being passed is H.R. 1, and it was introduced by Democrats. Democrats are introducing an election law thing after they just won everything. Seriously? Well, guess what? Yeah, I know that. We know that. But yeah. But the idea there is that they're trying to get and grab more and more things. And do you know what they did with H.R. 1? They didn't just leave it alone. They said, you know what? I think we can throw some gun control in there too. And they did. They did. Page 63. They put in a gun control. States may have the right to control any gun laws that aren't currently under the purview of the state. May. That doesn't exist. You know, everybody heard of the Federalist Papers? Yeah. How many have read it? Okay, read those papers. Our founding fathers argued over a semicolon, over a comma, okay? Over an apostrophe. I'm not kidding you. They argued for months about those things. They didn't create this static document, which is this is a static document, just for the record. They meant it to exist just like it is forever. And if it wasn't going to be that way, then 2/3 of the House has to be able to do something about it, right? That's the way it works, right? Okay. Well, that's not what they're trying to do right now. Through small diluting of things. You know, in the Federal Papers, they said that they weren't sure that they wanted lawyers to run for office. Why is that? Who's currently in office in almost every seat? Okay, if Catherine's here, don't kill me. I'm sorry. I love lawyers, right? I have several, and they do lots of good stuff for me. But the idea behind it was they were concerned about loopholes being written into laws. And what do we have right now? Ambiguous laws that we have to follow because somebody determined that they're that way. And they have enough people behind them that they can control the entire masses. That's what we're dealing with Whittemer right now. That's what we deal with. So who's going to have the guts to stand up? It's us. It's our groups. Our groups are the ones that are going to stand up. Rachel, you're pretty awesome. And where I come from, I hear Rachel Weaver a lot. She deserves a lot of props. So, yep. Guardians of Freedom, they're a real new group, and God bless them. I hope them a safe and straight trajectory towards getting as many members as possible. We can all join that group. Same thing is true with Masked Up. And you know, my wife and I, we have our own dilemma with masks. We don't wear them. Sometimes we're forced to wear them, right? Maybe you know, in hospitals, maybe that made sense because that's where the creepy crawlies are everywhere, anyways, right? Yeah. So maybe that's where it makes sense to wear a mask. But while I'm getting my groceries, and while I'm waiting in line to go on an airplane, and then I'm going to be packed like sardines with those other people, that's insane. It's insanity. And we're doing it, folks. We're actually doing what they said. So like Mike's talk about the sheepdog, we're being sheep. Are we, okay, the Democrats like to use the term woke. Are we woke?
No! We're awake.
We're awake. That's right. That's right. All right, that's all I have for you folks, but thank you very much for coming out and supporting these guys. They're incredible.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate that. 2A Patriot. So I realized when I was telling you the story about the elementary student, because I got kind of fired up about it, I did tell you that it was Monday, the Howell School Board meeting, but I probably didn't tell you what time. So that's kind of important. It's at 7 p.m. this Monday at 411 North Highlander Way in Howell. So that will be the Howell School Board meeting. Like I said, you don't have to be a parent to show up. You can show concern for just being a human being, not wanting children muzzled and treated poorly in school. So I just wanted to put that out there. In our group, we have other calls to action as well. Like we said, we went to about 2-3 different commissioners meetings. Sorry, this is really, let me put that down. We went to 2 or 3 commissioners meetings, Livingston County commissioners meetings. Our biggest group, our biggest focus with Unmask Livingston right now is to work in our general townships, cities, and everything within Livingston. So that's where our heart is right now. We also partner with these guys. And I also think I want to have Rachel Weaver just come back up one more time because she was going to mention one more thing about her cause. And then we should be having Catherine Henry here soon. And then, what was it, Dr. Gianni, which is going to be great. So let me hand this back over to Rachel so she can update you on the last thing she wanted to say.
Thank you. So after someone had mentioned recalling Whitmer, I just thought I would tell you that the recall Whitmer, well, it's actually going to recall all 4 of them. So there's a new movement. Yeah. So if you haven't followed it yet, you will want to get on Facebook or social media of some way, or check the website. I think the recallwhitmer.com website is still working for this at this point, but a new group, they're the same people, but they have a new name. I just don't remember what it is. But they're starting the movement again, and they're going to recall the governor, the lieutenant governor, the AG, and the Secretary of State, all in one swoop. Yeah. So David Blair is heading that up. And they're changing it a little bit because obviously we got nowhere near our signatures, did we, right? We needed over 1 million and we only gathered about 100,000. We only have 60 days to do so. And Snyder, so thanks Snyder, just so you guys know, he changed this, so it made it more difficult. I don't know all the changes that were made, but I do know he did change it to make it more difficult. So we have a short time frame, and we have to do it by voting jurisdiction inside each county. So it makes it way more difficult to gather those signatures. So what David Blair and maybe someone else had come up with is that you're going to pledge your support to sign the petition. It's $5, I believe, and 50 cents to do so. If you can't donate, there are other people that are donating more to cover that cost, but it does cost to have a recall. And so then when they get enough support and they know enough people have either signed up to do so and or pledged financially, then it will come out and everyone will be contacted. We can get those signatures way quicker, so it's going to just be a more organized effort given that 60-day time frame. So just so you know, that is starting. And then also, Guardians of Freedom Michigan has partnered directly with We the County. If you're not familiar yet with We the County, that is one of our main partner organizations that we're using to help spread the word. And Mike Smith has founded that back in September. And his mission, because he knew, which all of you are here, so you know this, we need to affect the change at a local level. So he started We the County to break it down into county jurisdictions. It will further be broken down really into voting jurisdictions as well, school boards, because that's really where we need to start, is very local level. So with We the County, you can sign up wethecounty.org. You can be involved in that. He will also keep you updated on these. He kind of lets people know on different events that are going on. And today they actually are sponsoring an event up in the Thumb area. They're having a speaker on the Constitution who has, I guess, won all the way up to the Supreme Court himself. So he has good information on the actual how-to, what we need to really do, the steps to take back our local level. So I would definitely encourage you to get involved with We the County. That's going to help us become more organized. So thank you again.
Okay, I want to bring up a guest, Sherry, really quick. She's got some great information on HR 5 that needs to be talked about, so let me just have her say her piece really quick.
There's a website called stophr5.com, and you go there, they will send out they're sending out orange postcards to every legislator member in this United States of America. They're bombarding them to tell them to stop this. And if you go to this site, they will send it from you. It is a small charge, but it is going to be worth it. We need to do this. It's stophr5.com. Please go to that site. We have to come together. The other site I follow every night is transformmichigan.com. It's a prayer call every night for this nation and our state. Join that call. If you don't get on it at night, it is recorded, so you can hear about it the next day. Thank you.
Okay, we are actually going to squeeze in Honorable Carrie Bentivolio while we wait for Catherine Henry to arrive. So please welcome Honorable Carrie. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Yeah, I got it. Good. They couldn't always pronounce my name correctly. You got to sing it when you say it. You got to sing Bentivolio. You try it.
Bentivolio.
I can't hear you again.
Bentivolio.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I had the honor of serving the people of the United States in both Vietnam and Iraq, and the only member of Congress who served in both those wars when I served in Congress. And I have to apologize for a couple things before I get started real quick, because I only have about 15 minutes. It took me a while to get up here for some reason. Over the period of serving my country, I became lame. My knee has given out from jumping off a tank so many times. And the other thing I have to apologize for is I smoke. And just want you to know, when I was in Vietnam, we used to get these, I was an infantryman in Vietnam, and they used to give us these C rations. Any veterans here know what those are? Yeah, and in those C rations, they put 5 cigarettes. And now they're telling you, well, back then it was okay, and then we found out later what? Well, it's okay because if I die of cigarette smoking, it'll be organic cancer because I smoke organic cigarettes. And now they're also telling us we got to wear masks. And how many people are familiar with the term DES? In 1950s and 60s, it protected women from having a miscarriage, and the women who took it had children that were born, women that were born without a uterus, and also some were deformed, okay? And the government said it was really safe. And now they want you to get vaccines.
Yeah, down with them.
And to prevent you from getting a disease that's probably as bad as the flu, okay? Yeah, yeah. I'm a big fan. Before I ran for office, I was a school teacher in Fowlerville, a high school teacher teaching English and history. And never got a complaint. In fact, when I came back from Iraq, the assistant principal took me all over Livingston County and introduced me as their school teacher, the hero who went to Iraq and also served in Vietnam. And I got to go to the VFW, American Legion Halls, AMVETS, and tell them about or compared and contrasted our experience in Vietnam and Iraq. Pretty good, huh? Then I ran for office with an R after my name, and every other week I got written up. I was tenured. I have a master's degree and 5 undergraduate majors, and highly, by the school in the state, said highly qualified in both general and vocational education. I taught computer-aided design. Pretty cool, huh? And I got elected by divine intervention. And the Republicans and the Democrats said, and I was a Republican, said it was accidental. Because the guy who I was running against was an incumbent. He turned in fraudulent petition signatures. And that's when it all began. The Republicans ran a write-in against me. I won that. I spent my entire life savings, my retirement, my school teacher pension, military pension, all that stuff I had in the bank. I went to serve my country in Washington. Now, how many of you think that a congressman should be transparent? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. How about cutting government waste? Do you think that should be? Yeah, how about passing bills that protect your rights, not take them away? Great, great. Well, when I came home from Washington, I showed my wife a list. Out of 426 members of Congress, only 8 scored 100% for cutting government waste, and guess who's at the top of the list? And my wife looked at that and said, that's because they printed that list alphabetically. She has always been a Republican. In fact, she had to ask me, she knew I was going to ask her to marry me, and she had to ask me, she says, who'd you vote for in the last election? I said, Nixon. She said, whew. I said, why? She said, my dad would not let you in the House if you voted for a Democrat. I've always been a Democrat. One time I ran as an independent because the guy that I was running against, the guy who bought the seat, I got to be accurate here, he's the guy who supported Bloomberg over Trump after Trump endorsed him to take my seat. I hold the record at the time, I held the record for the most spent against an incumbent for a political office in the U.S. Congress. He spent $2.3 million, but I didn't get any of that. That's how much he spent to replace me. I consider that an honor. How many of you consider that an honor? Yeah, I do. And by the way, I'm also suffering from PTSD. Anybody suffering from PTSD? Nobody wants to admit it? Well, it stands for pretty tired of stupid Democrats. Can I see those hands, please? Can I? Yeah, I had the honor of meeting Pelosi. She's a fruitcake. She really is. You think Biden's bad. You should actually try to carry on a conversation with Pelosi. You cannot do that. She is a complete, well, I'm not going to go there because there's too many kids around. So one of the reasons, and I'm going to be brief here, is one of the reasons I ran is because I was medevaced out of Iraq and I saw the way they treated our soldiers that were wounded and injured from Afghanistan and Iraq. We had a guy who died in the barracks. They didn't find his body for 3 days. The Army said 12 hours. Boots on the ground. The newspaper said 2 days. Boots on the ground said 3 days. He opened his pizza on a Friday, and they didn't find him until Monday evening with his head in a pizza. I said, "This is enough. Is enough." You know, and they gave me a prescription for my neck injury. I fell off a road. Somebody said I was blown 30 feet in the air, but I don't remember any of that. And I must have suffered a head injury because I ran for Congress not soon there. But I got to tell you, my grandfather He served in World War I when he got off the boat from Italy. And my father and my uncles and my neighbors where I grew up all served in World War II in that era. In fact, the gentleman across the street from where I grew up in Royal Oak was on an aircraft carrier that was hit by a kamikaze during World War II. And the gentleman next to us on the left, Charles Parker Sr., got his Purple Heart on Iwo Jima. His son, my best friend's name, is on the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C. And many a times I sat with my brothers and sisters whose names are on those walls, and in a romantic trance, if you will, before I got to my office in Washington, having a cup of coffee, and we chatted. Pretty crazy, huh? Okay, but you got to remember, I was elected by divine intervention. Okay. So on the left or right of me was a guy who was a veteran of the Korean War. And his daughter, well, I don't remember his name, but I do remember his daughter's name, Cookie, because she gave me my first kiss. It's pretty awesome. And down the street further were two gentlemen who were best of friends who served with General Patton when they relieved the 101st Airborne at Bastogne. Okay? And so I served, and when my name was called, oh, and I forgot, there was one other guy, World War II veteran. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. How many remember that Republican?
Yes, I do.
He's a Republican, trust me. Today, he would not get elected in the Democratic Party, trust me. Even though he had a, whatever that letter is. Oh, D for dumb, right? Okay. Anyway, but what really says it best, and I'm going to tell you if you ever consider running for office, I'm going to ask you one question. The only question I'm going to ask you, how much are your principles worth? Because mine were bought and paid for a long time ago. And I want to tell you that story, and it best is told with the movie Saving Private Ryan. How many of you saw that movie? Yeah, let's just refresh yourself. The movie opens up, the elderly gentleman with his family not far behind, right? They're following him. And you see he's determined. He's going to limp and do everything he can to get where he's going. And the scene changes, and you see this landing craft off the coast of Normandy full of soldiers. And they're all scared, throwing up, and frightened, and bombs are going off, and so on and so forth. They hit the beach, and you see the most terrible, most realistic, except for the smell and the bugs, most realistic battle scene you've ever seen on the big screen, right? And then they make it through that, and Tom Hanks is playing Captain Miller. Remember that? And he gets a special mission to go find this Private Ryan who parachuted behind enemy lines with the 101. And his three brothers, one there that day on the Normandy beach, were all killed, and the government didn't think, or the generals didn't think, that a mother should lose all four sons in a relatively short time, well, at all, right? And so they go on this mission to find Private Ryan and bring him home and take him back, or give him back to his mom. In the course of that, am I running out of time here? Oh, give me a couple more. I just want to finish this, all right? Thank you, thank you. So they go through a horrific, and they lose about 2 more of their soldiers, and they make it to this village in France, and they find Private Ryan, and Private Ryan says, no, I'm going to stay here with my brothers and defend this bridge as ordered. And they have another horrific battle. And you see where Tom Hanks, Captain Miller, gets mortally wounded after trying to shoot a tank with a 45 caliber 911, or 1911, 45 caliber. And he's laying his back up against a motorcycle. Matt Damon playing Captain, or Private Ryan, looks down at him, and you see Captain Miller looks up at him and he says, earn this. Earn this. And you see young Private Ryan's face change from the young Private Ryan to the elderly gentleman we met at the beginning of the movie. And he comes to a headstone that reads, Captain Miller, 2nd Rangers. And he falls to his knees and says, not a day goes by that I don't remember what all of you have done for me. I hope, at least in your eyes, I've earned your respect. Da, 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 da. Ladies and gentlemen, Today, you have a choice to make. And let me tell you about a small group of people in a little bar called the Green Dragon Tavern, down the street from a guy by the name of Paul Revere. They decided to dress up as makeshift Indians, small group, and parade themselves down through the center of town, many with quite a few beers in them, and throw the tea in the Boston Harbor. Today, you are here, and I can honestly tell you, today, you have been drafted. You're in the fight, whether you like it or not. I've been fighting socialism since Jane Fonda pretended to shoot down B-52s in Illinois. And by the way, when I was in Fowlerville High School, somebody asked me, and this is your community, folks, you know, Mr. Bentivolio, you seem like a very conservative Christian. You know, how can you be conservative and teach, or what's it feel like to teach in a liberal public school? And I looked at him and I said, kind of feels like Jane Fonda at a VFW convention. One of my students came to me and he asked me, Mr. Bentivolio, why are you running? I knew he worked for a restaurant after school, so I asked him if he had $5. He pulls out 5 ones, and he said, I took his 5 ones, I gave each of his 3 friends $1, gave him $1, put another $1 in my pocket. He says, Mr. Bentivolio, that's not fair, that's my money. I said, you're right, now you know why I'm running for office. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a fight on your hands. There's a guy named Carl in Owasso, and this restaurant owner on the east side, and you had a pastor today. They know what earn this means. They really do. I can see it. The ladies here today that are telling you to fight the tyranny that's now facing us, they know what earn this means. The people that are trying to teach you about vaccines and the dangers of the vaccine, they know what earn this means. And you today, you know what it means. Thank you. God bless you. See you later on the campaign trail.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.